Okay, welcome to another class on rhetorical devices. We're going to look at mesodiplosis, epanalepsis. Not sure how you pronounce that. Epanalepsis is a stress on the a. I don't know. Epanalepsis. I'm not sure. I really don't know how to pronounce a lot of these Greek words. Antimetaboly. I'm pretty sure the stress is on the a. Antimetaboly. And chiasmus. So we've got at least 4 different rhetorical devices to look at, and I wanted to point out another structure, another pattern that you often see, and maybe one more as well that you often see. But let's start with mesodiplosis. We did anaphora, epistrophe and anadiplosis in the last class. We saw that anaphora is repetition at the beginning of a phrase or clause. Epistrophe is repetition at the end of a phrase or clause. Anadiplosis is repetition at the end of one phrase or clause and at the start of another. And I want you to compare that to epanalepsis. And now we're doing mesodiplosis, which is repetition in the middle of successive clauses. So I decided to use this example to show you. There will be no loyalty except loyalty towards the party. There will be no love except the love of Big Brother. There will be no laughter except the laugh of triumph over a defeated enemy. And I wanted you to point out this part in the middle, which is repeated. No loyalty except loyalty. No love except the love. No laughter except the laugh. That's the mesodiplosis. And I agree that loyalty, love and laughter are not exactly the same word, obviously. But they are similar. They all start with a l. Yeah, they all start with a l. And they're all repeated here as well. And for that reason, I mean, you've got the except, you've got the no, no, no. So I consider this mesodiplosis, certainly. And of course, it's anaphora as well, because we've got there will be no, there will be no, there will be no. And so it's a very interesting part of the book. It's why that particular part is a powerful section of 1984. And so that's one more thing we can do. We can repeat things in the middle. Okay, let's come on to epanalepsis. Now, this is repetition at the start and the end of the same clause, yeah, of the same clause. Compare that to anadiplosis, which was at the end of one clause and at the start of the next. She being none of your flesh and blood. Your flesh and blood has not offended the king. Yeah, remember that one of your flesh and blood, repeated at the end and at the start of two different phrases or clauses. This is in the middle of the same phrase or clause, so it's slightly different. And this is one from Robert Frost that I liked. Possessed, but by what we now know more, possessed. I love that. It's nice. It's nice. This word possessed can mean a few different things, can't it? I remember a long time ago reading a book called The Possession, and it played with this idea that possessed can mean you are possessed, or it can mean what you possess. Yeah, the possessed are the things that you own, your possessions. And so you are possessed, you are dominated by what we now know more, possessed by what you don't have, dominated by what you lack, by what you don't have. I also like the idea that the more possessions you have, or the possessions that you have, end up possessing you. They end up controlling you. They end up determining how you act, how you think. It is true that everything that we own, it determines our character. Our possessions have a big influence on us.